In this session, let's look at the time zone settings and how Clockit allows you to use the time clock app across multiple time zones. So once you are inside your Clockit app, there are two ways in which you can set your time zone. The first being you can set it as a global site, and everyone that belongs to that site will belong to a time zone. So on this screen, if you look at the sites that we have, you have an option to set your time zone over here. So this is our India office. So we have one over there, and then we have another time zone which is set up over here. The other way to set your time zone is you can do this individually for each user. And when you click on the employee name, so I'm going to go into my employee profile, and if I click on edit, and if you scroll down, we have an additional time zone setting. Now, you must remember that this time zone setting overrides the one which is set up in the site. So be careful and be mindful when you make these changes. And if at all you need to update it, then you would always need to cross-check your site time zone settings and the time zone setting at a user level. Now, what does it mean when you set up time zones, and how does it affect the clock in, clock out time? I'm going to touch on this with examples. And the first example being, let's say you belong to the US Eastern time zone and you have employees, let's say, all the way in Philippines. Now, these are your two office locations. So your US time zone users would clock in and out as normal. And if you need your employees in the Philippines to clock in and clock out as per the US time, then that means your Philippine employees also have a time zone which is that of US Eastern. In the second example, let's say you have your office in the Eastern time zone, and you want your employees in the Philippines to clock in and clock out at their local time zone. Then you can set the time zone for your Philippine employees to be as per the local time zone, and they can just clock in and out. Let's say, for example, US users would clock in at 9 in the morning, and let's say it's all the way up to 5 or 6 in the evening. And your employees in the Philippines can also clock in at their local time, 9 o'clock, and all the way up to 6 o'clock in the evening. In the reports, what happens is you see the time for US employees as per the local time. So you would still see that they clocked in at 9 and clocked out at 6, for example, 5 or 6. And your your employees in the Philippines, you would see that they've also clocked in at 9 and clocked out at 6. If I was to go back to the first example where you have your employees, you require your employees in the Philippines to clock in and out as per the US time zone. So this typically means that the time zone setting for your employees in the Philippines is US Eastern. Then if they clock in their local time at 9, we adjust the time and then we show it to you as per the US times of clock in and clock out. So what this essentially means is that if they clock in at 9 in the morning and 6 in the evening, then we do not show 9 and 6 on your reports, but rather we'd show you the equated time as per the US Eastern in your reports. And it's as simple as that. So we do allow you to have employees across multiple time zones. We adjust the time accordingly in both the reports. And in our experience, we've seen that there is no preference as to how companies set up the time zones, meaning that we do have a whole lot of users that use the multiple time zones, and they do it locally. In this example, the US time zone employees clock in and out as per the US times, and the Philippines employees clock in and out as per their local times. But that's not to say that we also have several accounts in our portfolio where where companies require, in this example specifically, the employees in the Philippines to clock in and out as per the US time zone. And this is a good use case let's say, for example, if you run a customer support kind of an organization, then the US entity requires the employees in the Philippines to be available as per the times of the US office. I hope this all makes sense. Do reach out to us on the chat support or email or schedule a call like this one. We would be happy to explain the process to you and how you can use the amazing time zone features that Clockit has to offer. My name is Basil. I'm the founder with Clockit. We help companies do payroll in 5 minutes. We've been doing this for about 10 years now, and you're in good hands.